Darren Palmer and Ross Armand. Terry Spirides in the second Ferrari. We go back to King, Trimble and Linton.
Yeah, great mix of cars and different classes in the GTP ranks. Simpson and Kenny, Thorne and Tulin, the Nissan Skyline GTR doing well. Cohen there too. Gardner at the Mazda 66. He was very strong in the class battle yesterday.
Well, we're going to be joined by Grant Kenny shortly. He's decided not to run in this one, and we'll talk to the former Ironman champ in just a few moments. Davis, Cowley, Jackson, McGill. We're getting back to the smaller cars now in the Class E category. Williams, Hughes, Dean and Canto. Now you can take Canto out of that in the Maserati Ghibli. He has been excluded from the meeting. They were having irregularities and problems with their turbo boost, and it went beyond the regulations. So the young Sydney sider is out of this one, so bad luck for him. He was going all right yesterday, got caught up in a bit of trouble, but here's another young driver excited about his drive in a Ferrari, young Darren Palmer. As we get set to go, the Courier Mail, GT production cars, 10 laps, away we go. Jim Richards got away to a good start. So too did the Ferrari of Palmer. Looking for a way through young Darren Palmer, but it's Jim Richards and Rodney Forbes. Now Forbes would have and should have the inside line for the first chicane. We'll see how they end up. Oh, Ross Armand has gone sideways through the first chicane. Mayhem, but he's all right.
Yeah, we see so often at that first chicane, everyone under brakes, charging off that line. Everyone's pumped up. Tyres are cold, brakes are cold. They're coming flying in there, and so often we see a bit of a drama. Fortunately, not too much damage.
Well, Grant Kenny does join us now in commentary. That was an anxious start there, Grant.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting, wasn't it? That Ross Armand yesterday was so pumped up after coming fourth. I think he just went out a little hard there and a little bit excited.
How tough is that first chicane? How tight is it?
Well, it's quite tight. I think one of the things about it is, particularly after the start, is that it's a bit of chaos, and so many cars around, you can't take your normal line through the corner, and there's a lot of push and shove going on.
Ross Armand went in very, very deep. Look at the Palmer Ferrari. Nearly took out Forbes too as he went through the chicane. He ran straight over the top of it.
Jimmy Richards went down the escape road, went straight on.
Well, he had nowhere to go.
Exactly.
He turned in. There was a... Here we go now from the replay. Look at Armand right up behind the Porsche. He actually hits Jim Richards, loses it. Palmer's inside wheel. It was locked up. He was going way too fast. And Forbes, how close was that?
Oh. Good work by Rodney Forbes, actually.
Darren Palmer as well. The two guys off the second row. Bit of a head swell, I think.
Jimmy Richards was the big winner, though. Straight to the lead. Avoided contact, except when he got nudged by Ross Armand. He leads the way from Rodney Forbes. Then we go back. It still looks like Palmer in the Ferrari F355.
Well, Jimmy Richards, the winner yesterday. A tremendous battle between himself and Rodney Forbes. And Rodney Forbes just managed to pip him on the line. Rodney was the fastest man in qualifying. We saw a tremendous battle amongst these two for the full 12 laps. Richo was leading on that last lap. Rodney Forbes did an absolute blinding move. Half a lap to go and won the race. It was sensational. But look how close they are now, continuing that qualifying form throughout race 1 and here this morning in race 2.
Well, Grant, you've competed here at Service Paradise lots of times, but not in a motor car. How was it yesterday? You did pretty well. I think you got 2nd or 3rd in your class?
Yeah, 3rd in class and 10th outright. Jimmy Richards got a stop-go for that start incident, but I must say, I don't think he had a lot of options. I think that was a bit rough on him.
Yeah,
I think that is a bit tough. That is a bit tough. He was trying to avoid all the carnage. Went down the escape road. You saw drivers doing that yesterday, but they didn't get pinged. Richards has copped it. There's that damage in the rear bumper from Armand's spin. So Richo will go down to the
He's actually pulling into his pit. No, he's pulling into his pit, so I think he may have a problem there.
It was quite possible, I guess, after that nudge that he got, but no, he's off again now, so I guess it was a stop-go, but I know he's done both. He's gone to pits.
What was going on there?
He's a long way back now.
He'll have to come through the maze. Now, here's your car. Now, is Scott Jacobs in that car?
Yeah, Scott's driving. Unfortunately, I had a couple of commitments this morning, which meant that I couldn't get back to the to be gridded up in time. And one of the things I guess that people don't realise about this circuit is that the logistics is unbelievable. We're actually down at Marina Mirage, and we're in the cars almost an hour before the race start, and I couldn't make that. So Scott's got to drive first time on the track here at Surface, and had to start from the back of the grid. So he seems to be doing all right so far.
Rodney Forbes, Bob Forbes' son, former touring car great. Now doing a great job in this Porsche with Jimmy Richards out of the way. He's opened it up 2.5 seconds the lead over Darren Palmer in the Ferrari. So on the leaderboard there, Terry Spirides in 3rd, and Richards, he's gone down the order. He's got a lot of work to do.
Well, this is great for Terry Spirides in 3rd spot in the 2nd of the Ferraris, because first qualifying, he was 20th, started yesterday's race 20th, worked his way through the field, and now he's been rewarded, running in the top 3. Had a bit of a tough run yesterday, but things going well now for the by-ride Ferrari.
He got a stop-go penalty yesterday too, and apparently for hopping over the curb. So he's doing a lot better run today behind Darren Palmer in the Ferrari fragrance-sponsored car.
Don't they sound superb too, Murph?
Best sounding car out there, just super sounding, especially echoing off these walls around Surfers Paradise. They really are good.
3.5 litre quad cam alloy V8 with a 6-speed transmission. They're producing about 380 brake horsepower, and they rev to something like 8,000 RPM. It's phenomenal for a road car, and they're very impressive in race trim as well.
This category is something new for you at home. It is, well, it's probably the most popular category in Australian motor racing at the moment. There are competitors coming from everywhere. 5 different categories, A through to E, plus A, B, C, D, and E. They also have a sports car category as well. Goes on the various capacities of the car. Obviously, these front runners are in Class A. Now, Grant Kenny joining us this morning. He's been running in a Subaru Impreza WRX in Class B. And it is a fantastic category, Grant.
Oh, it is. We've just had a tremendous amount of fun, and really being out there and mixing it with these sort of guys really is a great experience.
Forget Jim Richards. He's got a problem for sure. He's coming back into the pit, so that car not running right. Now, that hit that he got at the start line from Ross Armand didn't look like much of a touch, so I think he's got some other problem with the car. Obviously, he's not very happy with it.
It's a shame.
There's only a small dent on the back bumper, so that can't be the reason for it, I think.
No. We had a great run yesterday. This is the debut, or yesterday was the race debut for this car. New Porsche 911 RSCS for Jimmy Richards. And it ran like a clock yesterday afternoon in that great battle with Rodney Forbes. Now he's really got a problem bringing into pit lane. That's a great shame for Richo. He's looking forward to a big run here this morning.
The guy on the left-hand side there just opening the door, that's Martin Klein. He's actually a fireman from Melbourne. Actually rebuilt that car, totally rebuilt that car. It was totaled at Targa Tasmania from some previous owners. And they bought the car, they got the car. Martin totally rebuilt it for this meeting for Jim. And unfortunately, things aren't going right. Didn't go right for him yesterday either when he was running second. He was in the lead. Rodney Forbes snatched the lead back. But 31-year-old Sydney sider, here he is. Rodney Forbes doing a great job. No challenge from the 2 Ferraris, so everything goes right. They should do this one quite easily. Here is the Class B leader, Mark King, the Mitsubishi Evo 3.
He really does have that car wound up too. He was doing some fantastic times yesterday, and had a bit of bad luck down at Sandown. Did the engine there, but he's really giving it some now.
Now, of course, there was a 1-hour endurance race at the Tickford 500 at Sandown. There will also be a 3-hour endurance race at the FAI 1000 Classic at Bathurst on November 14 and 15. We'll see you in that one.
Yeah, we will actually. We've now got Autobahn on board, and Kenwood who are helping us out, as well as Falcon with tyres. So now that we're starting to build the budget up a little bit, we've got enough at least to get down there. And so far it's been a bit of a hard road, but really looking forward to Bathurst. And I know it's a very daunting track, but it's very exciting. Something I'm really looking forward to.
So how long before we see the Grant Kenny 2-car V8 supercar team at Bathurst?
Well, we're working on it, but I think once Grant Kenny learns how to drive a bit better, then we'll go from there. But I've been pretty happy so far. One of the things I'd like to be able to do is to get to know a track a little bit quicker. I guess that all comes with experience, obviously, and at this stage for me it's been I'm fairly slow to start with, but I wind up, by the time it comes race day, I've been reasonably competitive. So I just want to get that wide a little bit better first.
It's a good battle with the smaller capacity cars. These are the Class E cars, the Suzuki Swift GTIs, and it is Williams and McGill. Now, Murph, we saw Aaron McGill have a good win yesterday, but he's got his work cut out for him here with Nigel Williams.
These cars are so close, these little Suzuki Swifts, and the rules obviously limit them to what they can do with these cars. And these guys are having a great fun out there on the circuit, which is a pretty daunting circuit, as Graham was saying before. And but they're doing a great job. But a bit of a weaving going on there, trying to break the slipstream. He's all over the place.
Not a lot of horsepower to play with.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing that. That's wasting straight line speed.
Oh, McGill's going to get him.
McGill's up the outside.
More speed.
I'll get another toe here, he says.
Exciting coming under brakes down to the first chicane. The great little cars.
Interesting tactic.
Suzuki GTIs. Only 835 kilograms. So
Bit of advice there, Grant. I wouldn't take up that tactic. Okay? Just you do your own thing.
1.3 litre 4-cylinder engine, producing a small amount of power, about 74 kilowatts. But they have been absolutely dominant in Class E.
Oh, McGill, that's a good move up the inside. Got a bit of a toe coming out of there. He's obviously got a bit of drive out of the turn. And covering himself down under brakes in the A&A corner. Good little battle going on.
It's a shame a couple of years ago we saw a Suzuki GTI Cup or a Suzuki GTI Control Series with everyone running in these cars. They ended up with a field of 35 or 40 cars, and it was just like this. Plenty of biffo, everyone running side by side, mirrors coming off, bumpers getting bent. It was fabulous racing.
It's an interesting situation to be in this category too, because for us in Class B, after about 10 laps, we're starting to get lapped by the Ferraris and Porsches. And I jumped out yesterday behind the Ferrari to get a little bit of a ride down the straight, but I tell you what, the Subaru is a great car, but it's no match in horsepower, that's for sure.
You needed a bloody grappling hook or something like that.
That's right, I nearly reached out the window.
Throw it out and grab on.
Would you say that's probably the strength of this category, Grant, is that, I mean, you're out there in a Subaru, you're out there mixing it with the likes of Rodney Forbes and Jimmy Richards. It really is good fun. As we battle on through, this is the Courier Mail GT production car race, and Rodney Forbes is your race leader from Palmer, Spirides, Tulin and King. Mark King, the first Class B car, and he's in the top 5. He's doing a great job. Beric Linton leads the sports car category from Thorne, Cohen, Scott Jacob, and David Ratcliffe. Have a look back, 11 through 15. Chris Sexton, Davis, Gardner, Jackson and Simpson. More of the GTPs right after this. Welcome back to the 98 Honda Indy. This is GT production car time, and this is your race leader, Rodney Forbes, the Sydney sider. The Scuderia Veloci Motors Porsche 911 RSCS. He's doing a great job. He really battled hard with one of the greatest names in Australian motorsport yesterday, but unfortunately, that guy is sitting on the sidelines now. It's Jimmy Richards, and he's with Barry Sheen.
Jimmy, never a dull moment. What happened?
No, well, at the start of the race, we all got off to a pretty good start, and the little white Mitsubishi, just as we put the brakes on, ran to the back of me quite hard and actually pushed me through the chicane. And I think the clerk of the course, without going to the replay, just thought that I'd driven through it for no reason. He should have maybe waited a lap and had a look. The fact that I was actually pushed through it, and maybe the race could have continued. But we damaged the exhaust pipe in the accident, so we really, you know, that's why we've stopped, because the exhaust pipe's dislodged and it's blowing hot air under the back of the car.
Thanks a lot, Jimmy.
Pleasure.
I'd have to agree with Jimmy there. It wasn't his fault that he went through the escape road.
Well, the exhaust in the Porsche is actually right behind the bumper there. It sits in the bumper, so that's right. Also, if it is rubbing on the exhaust, it can get hot and it could catch fire. So Jimmy obviously realised that. But yeah, I agree with you. He was pretty harshly done by there. He didn't deserve to have a black flag for that.
Second place man, Darren Palmer in the Ferrari. He's 8.1 seconds behind our race leader, Rodney Forbes, with Perry Spirides in third, some 13 seconds back behind this man. So as we saw yesterday, apart from that battle for the lead, the field becoming quite spaced out around this long circuit.
It's a young guy who's done quite a bit of racing. He's just returned from the USA, where he spends a bit of time with just 3 laps left to run. He's been running in a category called the Formula Mazda Series over there. He's come back to Australia and jumped in the Ferrari F355. Here's the second of those cars, Perry Spirides, who was pinged yesterday for excessively jumping the curves, but he's kept it all pretty online today, and he's running third outright and third in Class A as well.
Yeah, Perry was looking to have a run in the car at the 3 hour, or the 1 hour, I should say, at Sandown for the Tickford 500 support race. So the Ferrari getting plenty of work in the GTP series this year. 2 of them running, and they've certainly built a very strong fan base. People very enthusiastic about the prancing horse.
These guys were running pretty hard yesterday too. It's interesting once again, from being in a slower car, having the opportunity to see quite quick cars coming through from the mirrors. You're always watching, but then to jump in behind them through some of the corners. And it's interesting to note that some of the Class B cars in particular, even Class C cars, are almost as quick through some of the tighter turns, but of course really lacking horsepower on the run out.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to earlier, Grant, saying that you're in Class B, you're Subaru, and in all due respect, a relatively inexperienced driver, but you can get out here and have a go and mix it with these guys, but you're not racing against them overall. You're racing in your own separate categories, and I think that's one of the strengths.
Yeah, it is a tremendous category because it's also relatively inexpensive, and when I say relatively, I mean that's the key word there, relative to supercars, the V8s, you know, but it is a chance to get out there and race. The cars within class can be very competitive, and even if it's not a car in your class, because of the control situation, there's very limited opportunity to do anything with the car. So really, what you buy is what you've got to race with in many ways, and it's sometimes affected by the availability of tyres for that particular car. So you may have the horsepower on somebody, but if that particular car came out with a narrower tyre or a higher profile, then you're really limited to what's available on the market. So it becomes very difficult to sort of compare apples with apples, even within the class. But at the same time, the racing can be very, very tight. You know, particularly in yesterday's race, I think it was a lot tighter than what it's stretched out to be today. And you know, with the requirement to run the same tyres that you qualified on through the 2 races as well, probably seeing a little bit of performance difference there too between the different tyre manufacturers.
Carol Jackson in the Honda Civic running second in Class D. Calvin Gardner, where you got a quick shot of before in the Mazda 626, is the leader of that class. Here's Carol, currently 14th outright, doing a good job too.
Heading for the pits too. She's obviously got some sort of problem. The car looked okay. No smoke coming from it, but unless she got a stop-go penalty, which I don't think she did. They're heading for the pits this time, with only 2 laps to run too, so that's disappointing. Here's Rodney Forbes leading the race, lights ablaze. He's had a fairly uneventful race there by himself, unlike yesterday with him and Jim Richards battling it out. But Rodney done a great job. I said yesterday, really impressed with the way this young guy's driven. I mean, he hasn't had the experience of some of the other drivers out there, and he's done a super job.
Well, he has had a taste of V8 supercar, hasn't he, Greg? He was hoping to put a deal together with Glenn Seaton to run the second Ford credit car. It didn't really come off, but I'm sure that he'll be back aboard a Holden or a Ford supercar before too long.
Well, he's picked the right car to be racing at the front here, the Porsche. Usually a very reliable car. Obviously, Jim Richards had a problem with his, but that was due to an incident. And this car, a really nice car to drive. It stops superbly. It handles very well, engineered to perfection. And they just keep going all day long, and he's doing a great job out front.
This category represents a great stepping stone for drivers like Rodney Forbes, who was the 1997 New South Wales Formula Ford champ. He won the Formula Ford race at last year's Bathurst. So whether they want to go straight to V8 or whatever they want to do, this category provides that stepping stone, sort of that middle ground, which is great.
Yeah, well, Formula Ford teaches so much about racing, the racecraft, as we call it. It's such a competitive class to learn all the skills that's required, and then getting into something like this, if he's interested in getting into V8 supercars, GT production is a similar form of touring car racing. And this teaches him all about tin tops, and so he's doing the right thing.
Rodney Forbes on his last lap now, and he's really winding it back to a 2:10.58 he just did last time around. The gap between himself and Darren Palmer dropping down to just over 5 seconds. It was out to 8 or 9 seconds at one stage. So Rodney's going to cruise it home.
He's done a good job too. So, Grant, looking forward to the FII 1000 Classic?
Absolutely, yes. I think it's going to be a very interesting week. I've certainly enjoyed my time here at Indy, but I know that the Bathurst circuit is something really to excite yourself.
Have you been up there and driven around there yet?
I've about 15 years ago did one lap around there at the speed limit, of course.
Things have changed.
Yes. I do intend to go down there and spend a bit of time around the circuit prior to it being set up, just to become familiar with it. And I think that that's the least I could do at this stage. The rest of it's going to be pretty daunting at that time.
Just watch out for the cars with the blue lights.
Oh, yes.
Here's Darren Palmer, second outright in the Ferrari F355, the Ferrari Fragrance sponsored car. Doing a good job, the 23-year-old Queenslander. He's a lot closer to Rodney Forbes than what he was yesterday, and he's managed to drop Perry Spirides off the back as well.
Sure has. Spirides is almost half a minute behind this car. 29 seconds last time around for the other Ferrari in the race.
Son of Ross Palmer, of Palmer Tube Mills fame.
I don't think he spent much time in the Ferrari either. In fact, I think this is his first race, so he's probably done a pretty good job there.
Well, this is Rodney Forbes. He's bringing it home. A couple of corners, then half the length of the main straight, and he's home. So it's been a very successful weekend for Rodney Forbes, 31-year-old Sydney-sider. Has come here in the GTP class. Did a little bit of Porsche Cup racing earlier this year as well.
Well, he couldn't have done better. Couldn't he? Pole position and 2 race wins. You can't ask for more than that.
I think it may be his first time here too, so his experience on the circuit is probably fairly limited.
Finish time, checkered flag is out. Well done, Rodney Forbes. He wins the Courier Mail GT production car race here at 98 Honda Indy. Darren Palmer flashing across the line in the Ferrari 355. They're the top 2 in Class A. Now, currently, Mark King is still leading Class B. He'll be making his way to the line, but there's Rodney Forbes. Well done. A really good win. Now, currently, Grant Kenny, your car, with Scott Jacobs behind the wheel, is running second in class. Not bad.
Yeah, he'd be pretty happy with that, I'm sure. And I was just noticing the time. He's got down to about a 2:23 or so, which is a great effort. I think the best we managed yesterday was almost 22 flat, but as I said earlier, Scott's never driven this circuit, so you know, it does take a little while to get to know the track. Particularly, I don't think it's the best situation to learn the track under race conditions.
Perry Spirides coming across the line. He'll pick up third outright in the Ferrari 355. Now, just to get back on an earlier incident, that first corner incident, Ross Armand, he obviously pulled off straight after that incident, so he didn't continue and finished at the back of the pack with Jimmy Richards as well.
Yeah, great class battle. King up there, Class B, Linton, Class S. Ratcliffe, once again, dominant Class C in the V6 Camry. And Thorne, that Suzuki GTI. So tremendous mix of cars and classes, as we always see in the GTP battle.
Well, here's a pretty good battle here. Derek Linton making his way around. That is, he will be, and Michael Simpson in the second BMW. He's sitting second in that sports car class. Derek Linton too strong.
Fair bit of paint traded between the BMWs yesterday. Actually, It was quite an interesting race. I was sitting right behind them, and it was very entertaining.
Well, Michael Simpson's done a ton of laps around this Indy circuit. He a former HQ racer who did very, very well in that category. Here is Mark King coming home in the Mitsubishi Evo 3. He's been unstoppable in this category. A really, really quick competitor. And he won this category yesterday and will do it again today.
Yeah, the World Rally Car Champion, winning car. The Evo 3, Evo 4, Evo 5, they continue the Mitsubishi World Rally Car program. And this is just an example of how quick this car, not only in the forests, but also on the tarmac.
To do the roundup further back through the field, Calvin Gardner took out Class D, and it looked like Williams, no, McGill in E. But this is your top five on the McDonald's scoreboard. Rodney Forbes in for the win, Darren Palmer, Perry Spirides, John Tulin, and Mark King, as we thank Grant Kenny for coming on up. We'll be back right after this.